Hi everyone, and welcome to my first video of 2021. I am very excited to be making this video because I am more than happy to be leaving 2020 behind me. That being said, I am filming this on New Year's Eve, so already a plethora of things have gone wrong in trying to film this video. But nonetheless, today I am going to be sharing with you my pretty ambitious TBR for January. I say that it's ambitious because it's ambitious for how my reading has been lately, which is not great. So I have about 4, 5, 6 books, I think, on my TBR, and some of them are kind of on the thicker side, so that's why this is a little bit ambitious for me. But I'm hoping to finally, in 2021, get my reading a little bit more back on track, so we'll see how that goes. I also feel like my TBRs, as of lately, have been very repetitive because there's like a handful of the same books that I keep putting on my TBRs and then not reading them, and then they end up on the next TBR, and then I don't read them again, and then they end up on another TBR, until eventually I feel like you people are probably sick of hearing about these books. I have a couple of those same books on this TBR, and those books that I know I've mentioned a lot of times, I'm not going to explain a synopsis for them. I'm just gonna brush over them really quickly because most of you have probably already heard about them. If not on my channel, then honestly on probably a lot of other people's channels. So now that all of that is out of the way, let's jump into the first book on my TBR, which is actually one that I don't physically own, and that is I Would Leave Me If I Could, a collection of poetry by Halsey. Another thing you've probably heard me repeatedly say in 2020 is that I'm not really a poetry person, but yet for some reason throughout 2020, I kept picking up poetry books, and for the most part, not enjoying them because I'm not a poetry person. But I'm doing it again because, frankly, I do really enjoy Halsey's music, so I want to check out what her poetry is like. Maybe because I enjoy her music, I will like her poetry more than some other stuff that I've read. I don't know. I want to give it a shot. We'll just see. Another book I want to read in January that I don't have at the moment is Across the Green Grass Fields by Seanan McGuire. This is the 6th book in the Wayward Children series, and I believe this comes out on January 12th, so I don't have a copy of it yet, obviously, but I did put in a request for it at my library, which I'm really hoping it will come in before the end of January. I think there's like one person ahead of me, but there's like 5 copies on order, so I'm really hoping to be able to get my hands on this in January. If you don't know what the Wayward Children series is, it is basically kind of a portal fantasy series. In the first book, we're following this home for children that have gone to other lands. So like the children that have fallen into Wonderland or Narnia, and then they've come back and they find it really hard to adjust back into the real life. So there's actually a home for these kids and these teenagers, and that's what we basically follow in the first book, and then the series kind of branches off from there. But I absolutely adored the first book, and then every other book in the series I've enjoyed, but then every other one I haven't. So it's kind of hit or miss for me. But the last book in the series, number 5, I didn't really like. So I'm hoping that that means that number 6 is going to be one that I do really enjoy. So nonetheless, I would pick up all of the books in the series anyway because the ones that I do enjoy, I super love them, and I just love the characters in here. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for this, and hopefully I will be able to get my hands on it in January. So now moving on to the books on my TBR that I do actually own. So the first one, which is one of the ones that you've heard me talk about quite a bit, is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is a young adult mystery book. It's the first book in, I think it was a trilogy, but I want to say that they wrote more books in the series, perhaps, or maybe I'm getting it confused with something else. But I know it's the first book in a trilogy, so I want to pick this up in January. I'm a little bit nervous because I definitely have read a lot less young adult in 2020, and I feel myself losing interest in like all of the young adult books that have been sitting on my shelf for so long. So I really want to try and prioritize them so that I can hopefully enjoy them while like there's still time left, because I can feel like that young adult spark kind of dying within me. So I really want to read this book before I like completely lose interest in it. But from what I've heard, so many people love this series, so I think I will enjoy it also. Next we have Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This is another book that I've talked about a lot on my channel. I talked about how I had tried to read it. I read 100 pages of it. I DNF'd it, but I really want to enjoy this book because so many people people that I know and that have similar reading tastes to me loved it, so I'm hoping that the first time that I read it, it wasn't the right time for me to read it, and hopefully in January of 2021 it will be the right time for me to pick this book up. And I feel like it takes place in college, so this isn't quite young adult. I don't think it's technically new adult, but it's not quite as young as some of the other YA books, if you know what I'm saying. So that's the other one on my TBR. Actually, I just realized that basically all the books I'm about to show you are young adult books after I just said that I was moving on from reading them. Anyways, the next one that we have is Supernova by Marissa Meyer. This is the third and final book in the Renegades trilogy. I don't know if that trilogy has another name, but it takes place in kind of a future society where we don't really have law enforcement. Instead, we have like superheroes, basically. And we're following our main character, who is actually a part of the like super villains, but she ends up going undercover and becomes one of the like superhero trainees, sort of. So that's what happens in the first book. But this is the third book. I really have enjoyed this trilogy so far, so I'm excited to see how it finally comes to a close. And then the final book on my TBR for January is Instant Karma, also by Marissa Meyer, which I have no idea how I did not hear about this book until it came out. Like, I saw it in Barnes & Noble, and I believe this is actually a signed copy, so that's why I picked it up, but I don't know how. Like, I follow her on Instagram. I'm sure she posted about it, so how did I miss this book coming out until it came out and I saw it on the shelf? Like, I don't know how I managed to do that, but when I saw it, you better believe I was very excited, because Marissa Meyer is totally like an auto-buy author for me, because I love the Lunar Chronicles, I love Heartless, obviously I enjoyed the Renegade series, so I was very excited to see this there. And this is, I think, like her first proper like contemporary series, although I do think it has a little bit of magical realism in it, because I think our main character somehow gets the power to like give instant karma. I don't super understand it. I don't really like to go into my books knowing a lot of stuff, which you probably know this if you've seen any of my haul videos, because I have no idea what any of the books are about. But I think that's like the general idea. So I think it's like a contemporary romance, but it has like a little bit of magical realism in it. So I'm pretty excited for this, obviously. So those are all of the books on my January TBR. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you've read any of these and which ones you think that I should prioritize on this list, just in case I can't get to all of them, which is very likely. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
You hear that, Samson?